Hey everybody, it's your best friend Elwood once again. Welcome back to Rock On Studio Live, the only show that gets you one-on-one with your favorite artist, where you get to interact, watch, listen, whatever you want. So if you ever got a question or a comment, please drop them in the comment section. We'll get them up on screen, a direct thing you need asked. We'll try to get our best to all of them. And do me a favor, hit that subscribe button for me. Bang that link. On YouTube, just search Rock On Studio Live. Check out past interviews and more. Yesterday, Ben Bruce from Asking Alexandria joined me about the new record, writing new music, and more, and got some great ones on there from Brent Smith, Chris Motionless, Scott Stapp, Brent Smith. I mean, so many on there. So get it done, right? But today's guest, I'll tell you this. I was very excited because since I've been doing this show, every guest I've had on, I've met before. I've met them in the past through doing other interviews or hanging out with them at a festival. But today's artist is somebody I have not gotten the opportunity to meet yet. And also, he's got a top 10 single on the rock charts right now with Outlaws and Outsiders. But unfortunately, on top of all that, I thought we were going to be able to virtually meet, but his camera's not working. But I said, I'm not going to throw this out the window just because of that. So we're going to get him on. His name is Cory Marks. Cory Marks, welcome to Rock On Studio, man. How you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And sorry I can't get my phone working, so we could do that virtual meet. But I'm sure when all this COVID stuff passes down the line, we'll be able to throw a few whiskeys back or something and meet.
Well, that's good. I know you're a whiskey drinking man, so that means we're friends right off the bat. So that's a good sign.
That is very good. Good start.
I just thought you were like, oh man, bad hair day. Let's pretend the camera's not working.
I changed my shirt and grabbed a beer and everything. I was ready for this thing.
Awesome, man. Well, it's very great to meet you. And I just want to start with Cory Marks. Who are you? Was the rock and roll thing awesome? With like, where did the Ivan Moody and Mick Mars and Travis Tritt, Outlaws and Outsiders? I mean, it's impacting rock radio right now. It's doing great. It's a top 10 single. Yes. Is this where country and rock meet?
Well, if you guys listen to any country at all, I mean, it's definitely aimed more towards the pop side of things, and I think that's something I really wanted to stay clear of. I think we're hearing too much of it personally. And, my dad and I always talk about, my dad always says, you want to be the change. You don't want to be part of the change. So, like one of my biggest heroes, Merle Haggard, did it with the, Bakersfield sound with Buck Owens. I wanted to change it up a little bit. And, not only am I a huge country fan and a country artist, but, growing up, I was a metal drummer and, being from Canada, of course, grew up listening to Rush, but my dad was always a huge Merle Haggard fan and Waylon Jennings, on the country side of things, and going back to Jimmy Rogers and all that stuff too. But then on the rock side of things, of course, there was Rush, there was Deep Purple, there was Ozzy Osbourne, there was Rainbow, Black Sabbath, all that good stuff. And in my teens, I got into the heavier stuff. Once I progressed, even getting into bands like Dream Theater, and then of course Pantera and Arch Enemy and all that good stuff. So I come from a very wide variety of music that I love, and that's country, that's rock, and that's metal too, and that's exactly what we tried to implement in this sound. And I think it's like amped up country music. It's definitely something. I believe that the sound that we have, of course, thanks to my producer Kevin Churko, who's produced great rock bands, current ones, like Ozzy Osbourne, of course, and then Five Finger Death Punch and Disturbed. So working with him, and we both have a love for country and a love for rock. So we wanted to mix those two sounds together and blend them together, and that's who I am, and that's the name of the record too.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. The first time we heard this, I remember, and I'll be honest, I'm a rock programmer. You see Travis Tritt on a rock track that comes into your inbox, you're kind of throwing back a little bit, and you're like, what? When we're used to seeing the Five Finger Death Punches and the Slipknot and all that, so it was kind of thrown off to hear. But then, as soon as I heard that first strum and it kick in, and your vocals mixing with Ivan Moody, and then Travis and Mick Mars on the guitar, was this put together from your producer and thought, man, this will be a great idea if we do this?
Well, so actually how that went, I was on a cross-Canada tour with one of my good buddies, Aaron Pritchett. He's a big country star up here in Canada. And it was actually called the Outlaws and Outsiders Tour. And me being more of, leaning more towards the rock side of country, if you will, as opposed to the pop side, what everyone else is doing. you know, it was hard to me to get support from Canadian country radio. It's still hard, mind you, because now this is two rock, even more rock, to play up here. So that being said, you know, I just I lost my train of thought there for a second.
About
I seen the bottom of the screen.
how you got these three guys to get together to do this
Yeah,
track for rock.
so what happened is that I was on this Outlaws and Outsiders tour, and given I was going through that, I thought, man, that'd be a great title for a song. And so I put the title down. I started writing it a little bit and just kind of let it go. And once I started working with Kevin Churko, you know, we got in the room and started writing with his son Kane Churko as well, and we wrote this song together. It all came together, and we had this project. You know, we had 5 or 6 songs done already, and Kevin said, you know, I'm working with this label that's a rock label, but I think they're going to love you. And sure enough, it was 11/7 at the time, now Better Noise. So I ended up signing with them in May 2018. And so I'm the flagship artist. I'm really the only country artist on this rock label that has, you know, of course, Five Finger and Hell Yeah, and
Massive rock bands.
yeah, man, and they're great. And so what happened to that was, you know, once we decided, you know, of course, once you sign, then you decide what you're coming out with first. You make a plan, you make a mission, and do it. And the plan was to come out with Outlaws and Outsiders. And so we decided to have features on it. And I, as the artist, I didn't want to just have anybody. I wanted people that can relate to the song and that are outsiders or outlaws in their own way. And I think every artist on here is just that. Ivan Moody, of course, Five Finger Death Punch, being label mates, we sent him the song. He absolutely loved it. And then my manager knew Travis Tritt's manager, Cheese. And, you know, Travis is, you know, he's a country guy, you know, at heart, but he loves that Southern rock. And like he says, you know, he put some drive in his country. And, you know, and that's just what he did. And he's a country music legend, an outlaw too. And I'm just thankful he loved the song as well. And it just kind of all came together. And then Kevin called me to let me know that Mick Mars loved the track and wanted to be part of it. And so it kind of just all came together thanks to Kevin, the label, and my team. And you know, since the release of the song, I've talked to Ivan and I text at least once a week, and so do Travis and I. So it's been quite an experience, and I'm just, you know, most of all thankful that they love the song as much as I do and what it represents. And it's just a true honor to have every single one of those guys part of my debut single, Outlaws and Outsiders.
Yeah, I feel like there is a very thin line between that outlaw country rock and rock fans. I know a lot of rock guys that love country, a lot of rock girls that like country too. So it goes back and forth.
Yeah.
But usually, to me, I'm not in the country world, but I thought the country world was much more open to different sounds and bringing it in. Are they just more open to the pop sound? Because I feel like in the country world, it's always arms wide open. Anybody could come in. We support everybody, but not so much in the rock world.
I wish they would have done that to me. No, I think you have to have a certain sound and be a certain way. And, you know, in the end, that's how country music's always kind of been. Unless you're an outsider and do your own thing and work your way in. And I think that's exactly what we're doing. I mean, there's guys like Eric Church that did it, you know, most recently, you know, guys like Brantley Gilbert. And then, of course, going back again is, of course, the guys like Waylon Jennings, who definitely had a bit of a rock edge to him as well, but was just different and was apart from you know, what country music was when he was, you know, playing. And of course, Merle Haggard did it too. So it's just, yeah, there's a fine line, definitely. But I think there's a bit of rock and a little bit of country and everybody one way or another. And again, I just wanted to demonstrate that, you know, paying tribute to guys like Merle and Waylon, but also respecting my rock roots like Dio and Ozzy and all those greats too. So, and even, you know, songs like Blame It on the Devil that's out there now has definitely got some Pantera, Vinnie Paul, Dimebag breakdowns. So, you know, we tried to mash that all together.
That's awesome, man. Ivan Moody, Mick Mars, Travis Tritt on the new single from Cory Marks, Outlaws and Outsiders, impacting rock radio now and a top 10 single on the rock charts. That's gotta feel good to hear, right? Trying to climb that way up.
Oh man, I mean, and not only that, you know, I consider myself a rocker as well, but to be honest, you know, to be the first Canadian country act to be top 10 at U.S. rock radio. And then on top of that, to give a country music legend like Travis Tritt a top 10 at U.S. rock radio too is just, yeah, it's definitely overwhelming, and it's exciting, and I'm just so happy. Most of all, honestly, just support from you guys and you know, U.S. rock radio stations across the nation that have been so supportive and accepting of who I am and what I represent, and the sound, you know, the sound that we're given, and you know, I'm just really thankful for that, for the support, and I really appreciate you guys.
So you were also involved in another song that you've been highlighting on your social medias and more, called Together We're Strong.
Mm-hmm.
We're obviously living in a world right now where a lot of us are having our eyes opened to social injustice. We're trying to learn to talk and even more listen.
Yeah.
Together We're Strong, a very powerful song that's to be released right now. Can you talk a little bit about that track?
Yeah, well, that song was brought to me by one of my good buddies, Brian, from a Canadian country band actually called Kansas Stone. And now they're a little bit on the rock side too, and we've connected over the years, and they've been great friends and fans of mine for a number of years now. And he reached out and asked, and that's one of those things in the Canadian country music industry. I find, especially, you have to be part of a certain clique, and I've always felt like an outsider, and I still do. And to have the opportunity to be part of something like this that, brings, I think there's 20 plus Canadian artists on this song, between the video and the audio. And he brought me the song, and I it's not really my style, but it was a good melody, and I thought the message was great. And again, to be part of it with many other artists, I wanted to, and he really wanted my vocals on this track, and you know what, I couldn't say no. And then, of course, if you haven't known already, I'm really good friends with the Canadian Forces Snowbirds, and that's like, the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels and the U.S. Air Force's Thunderbirds. I'm a huge aviation geek and student pilot, all that kind of stuff. I actually had the opportunity to fly with the Snowbirds back in 2017.
That's awesome.
And I'm not sure if you're aware, but there was an incident a few weeks ago. And now they believe it was a bird strike upon takeoff, and we lost the jet. It went down, and my good buddy, the pilot of the airplane, is Richard, and he made it out. But unfortunately, the public affairs officer, Captain Jen Casey, who I've met a number of times and is a big part of that team, didn't make the ejection. So we lost a great Canadian Forces member and teammate. And so in the video, we pay tribute to her and the entire team and the entire Canadian Forces. It's just a tragic event. And of course, there's enough going on in the world with COVID right now. We just thought, we have to add that in there and pay tribute to, of course, our Canadian Forces and Captain Jen Casey, and all in all, try to bring everybody together, not only in Canada, but worldwide, with a song like Together We're Strong.
Yeah, very powerful track for sure.
Thank
you. Now you were supposed to be touring America right now with all of, the Canadian rockers headlining Theory of a Dead Man, alongside with Bush, and you also had Saint Asonia on the bill. I mean, massive tour, and I was really excited to be able to see you kick that off. Would that been your first national major rock tour with those bands?
Yes, it would have, and of course, the headliners, Breaking Benjamin, were
yes,
those guys, they've been awesome, and that would have been my first U.S. tour and first rock tour, and I was really looking forward to, I've been across Canada 7 or 8 times on many country tours and touring with country music legends like Travis Tritt and Toby Keith, to name a few, and of course other ones like Brantley Gilbert and some of the bigger Canadian stars. So I've done this many times, and I love it. I love the road, and I was really looking forward to crossing the United States to many places I haven't been. I've been in the States a lot, but some of these places like Colorado even, and some really cool places. And of course, playing at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. I mean, as a country artist, really doesn't get much better than that. But to be able to do that with the whole rock lineup, man, I was looking forward to it. It's very unfortunate that this happened, but I do think there's brighter days ahead. So just kind of keeping my eye on the prize, and excited to see what's going to happen once all this stuff kind of blows over.
Well, I'll tell you this, in the rock and roll world, we always have arms wide open. So we take it in just as long as you're down with a little whiskey and some drinks. And I guess you're good with that. So we should be all right there.
You know I am.
Well, you know what you got to do? You got to keep putting out these rock singles after this and turn up the volume a little bit for us. All right.
Absolutely, man. Well, actually, we have a brand new single coming out on all streaming platforms, and a video that drops tomorrow. It's a song I wrote called Drive. It is leaning more towards the countryside. But the cool thing about this record, Who I Am, you have songs like Outlaws and Outsiders and Blame It on the Double. There's actually a track on there called Keep Doing What I Do that's even heavier than both those songs. And I even throw in, some like a Dio scream or Steel Panther, if you will, with those high 80s, big hair metal bands. I've always been a huge fan of them. So on this record, there's just really a huge mix of country, rock, and metal. And on top of that, you can pre-order the album starting tomorrow, which does come out August 7th. This summer, August 7th, the album Who I Am comes out, and it's the focus track on there, which I believe, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think is going to be my next single to rock radio. I hope I'm not upsetting my team by saying that. But
you probably aren't allowed, but
it also has a feature on it who I've been a fan of for years, and she is an absolute powerhouse and amazing vocalist, and she just sounds so great on this track. And I'm excited for the world to hear this song. It's a song called Out in the Rain. So it's a bit of a power ballad, but we sound really good together, and that I believe that's going to be the next single to rock radio, I think. But if not, there's a couple other rock songs on the record that I'm sure all the rockers and metalheads out there are going to love just as much as Outlaws and Outsiders.
Well, that's great, man. Cory Marks hanging out with us in Rock On Studio Live, giving us the behind-the-scenes look on Outlaws and Outsiders featuring Ivan Moody, Mick Mars, and Travis Tritt. And we'll look forward to that record coming out. And also check out Together We're Strong, an emotional song that hits us in so many ways right now. So please get out there and support. You can check out Cory Marks on his website and his social medias. Cory, I can't wait to actually meet you in person. We'll have those drinks. We'll enjoy a good rock show, and can't wait to see what brings you, what you bring up next for us.
Elwood, I'll make sure that there's a nice big old bottle of Jack Daniels on the rider. And if you guys want to tune in and hang out during these COVID times, of course we love touring, but now we're kind of doing that those online concerts from home. And I am live at 4 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday on Instagram, and every Friday, so tomorrow, I'll be live at 5 p.m. on Facebook. And I'm never too shy to throw a few drinks back and have a good time with you guys. So join me on that. And Elwood, I can't wait to meet you too, and throw some Jack back, and hopefully put on a show for you guys.
Sounds great, man. Rock On Studio Live, once again, coming to you every week with all of your favorite artists, one-on-one, where you get to interact, listen, and usually see. But today was a little different with Cory. That's what. But I just want to take this time once again to remind everybody to stay safe and remember to always be kind, respect, unity, and love. My name is Elwood, and that's another episode of Rock On Studio Live.